In the northeast of Big Island, along the coast north of Hilo, west to Waimea, and then back down to Saddle Road and around to Hilo again, there are awe-inspiring sights, Waipi'o Valley and Mauna Kea. Before getting to all the places of jaw-dropping beauty though, I want to talk about an interesting little place just west of Hilo, Kaumana Caves. You're allowed to explore just a little portion of the lava tubes created by the 1881 eruption of Mauna Loa. You'll need to bring a source of light because there is no artificial lighting, and wear good shoes because the floor is not maintained as a path, and sometimes you have to scramble over rubble. But the lava's made such interesting shapes and patterns as it cooled. You feel like you're exploring inside a giant beast. An even shorter stop is at Hamakua Falls. You can't hike to the falls anymore or swim underneath it, but you can stop and enjoy a view of a beautiful tropical forest. Hamakua Falls is free to visit, but there's something further up the road that isn't free but still well worth the money. Hawaiian Tropical Botanical Gardens is $25 a person as of 2023, but we're really glad we spent the money to go. It's beautifully landscaped and well maintained, and it kind of gives you the sense that you're in a fantasy land of tropical rainforest. If you like to take pictures, you can spend hours there like we did, taking far too many pictures of every plant we liked. My favorite part of the garden was wandering around under the giant monkey pod trees. Just past the grove of monkey pod trees, there's a small cemetery with some graves the garden now protects. Then you reach the ocean again. There is supposed to be a trail you can take along the coast there even if you don't visit the gardens, but to me the gardens were well worth the admission price. Either way, afterwards, you've got an appetite for a good smoothie at what's Shakin Smoothies. The Smoothie Shack has an appealing Hawaiian simplicity, and we were excited to meet our first gecko. And the smoothies were great. They also have local Hawaiian chocolate for sale, which is also great. Less great to me was Akaka Falls. $5 a person to enter, plus a $10 parking fee. There is a very short walk to an overlook of the falls, but it's nicer, I think, to take the hike through the forest. Still pretty short, but you can see the creek, lovely banyan trees, and interesting tropical foliage. It also gave us a chance to talk to a local man who had seen a crayfish in the creek and pointed it out to us too. And although the waterfall is spectacular, the area right at the overlook is crowded with selfie takers and bordered by this really hideous chain link fence that keeps it from being sublime. A little further north on Highway 19, there's another park centered on the water of KoleKole Stream. The same water that plunges over Akaka Falls reaches the ocean at KoleKole Park. There is lead contamination in the ground under the highway bridge, but when we were there in 2021, there was no indication that the park was closed, just signs warning you that the soil had high lead levels. So I guess I wouldn't let kids play in the field, but we didn't worry about walking around. It's an interesting stop, and the highway bridge adds some drama. Definitely not appealing for swimming though. Even though we were actually following a well-worn tourist trail on Big Island, a lot of our favorite places had a quiet, small town feel, like Papaloa Country Store and Cafe, where we ate a great lunch alongside a friendly gecko. From the jetty at Laupahoehoe Point, you can watch the tremendous forest of the Pacific Ocean, although behind you the locals seem to know a safe place to play. Our main destination that day was Honoka'a, where we met our guides for a trip down into the Waipi'o Valley. In May 2021, we were able to do a horseback tour, which as of now, early 2023, is no longer permitted. On the ride, we did learn about the taro farms and the wild horses of the valley. But after the ride, I told my husband my favorite part was the view of the valley from the overlook. Access to the valley is controversial, and I can truthfully say I would have enjoyed a ride around the Waimea area probably more than the slog through the mud and the rain in the valley. Some people are really drawn to the valley for its beauty, history, and spiritual significance, while others love the public beach, and that's currently inaccessible. But if you can't get down into the valley when you visit, the overlook itself is worth the drive. After an unsuccessful shortcut through the ironwoods, we passed through the cowboy country around Waimea, on our way to Saddle Road and our first of 3 drives up Mauna Kea. Saddle Road goes through a landscape completely different from the lush forest we'd been in all day. The road passes between the 2 massive volcanoes that dominate the middle of Big Island, Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa, and you can turn off to drive up to the observatories on the summit of Mauna Kea. The summit is a strange and amazing place. We got snowed on in May, and we had a kind of strange experience with the gas in our rental Jeep. A ranger warned us we needed at least half a tank of gas to just get the last few miles to the top. And when we got there, we realized our gas tank still read empty. But as we started down, the gas gauge did recover. Okay, so we made it to the summit of Mauna Kea, and then we had our gasoline scare where the gauge suddenly showed we had no gas, and we had 11-mile range, and it's more than 20 miles to any gas stations. But the ranger was very nice. Both rangers we've talked to here have been very nice. Told us just to stop and to open the gas tank and then to put the gas cap back on, and probably we'd have more gas than it was saying. And we do. We have 30 whole miles or something. What's it say now, Randy?
27.
Oh, 27. Yeah, so that'll get us to a gas station. On that first visit, there was too much ice on the road for us to get all the way to the summit, but we did watch the sunset from an area near the visitor center. Our very last night on Big Island, we drove all the way back from Volcano because after our unusually bad luck with rain, it was finally clear enough to see the stars. Our cameras weren't up to capturing what we saw that night, but even with a surprisingly thoughtless group near us with very bright lights, we were able to see the constellations of the northern and southern hemisphere, the North Star and the Southern Cross. To me, Mauna Kea made the entire trip to Big Island worth it.